Hello and welcome everyone to IndieCade's very own RP Game Changers. I am your co-host, Colin Kelly.
And I am your other co-host, Aki.
It's great how we work together like that.
We do our best.
This is the only show that is part actual play, part fireside chat. RP Game Changers is really the only show on Twitch that not only shows you the independent TTRPGs that you are about to love, but the only one that has the designers of the games themselves running the games.
Today, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, there's just one more bit that I almost forgot to mention, because today is this very special second part of our episode, and after we're done with the actual play itself, we're going to go into a fireside chat with the developers to ask them all the probing questions that are ticking around in our brains.
And if you missed the first part, you can find the first part here on the IndieCade Twitch channel on our VOD, or you can go to Ninth Level Games YouTube channel and check it out there as well. But first, why don't we go around and introduce everyone, starting with our one of our game designers, Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patrick Watson. I'm he, him is my pronouns, and I am half of the writer-developer team of Business Wizards. I'll be running the game as GM today. Let's pass it off to Nat next.
Hello, I'm Nat Mesnard. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the other half of the writer-developer team who created Business Wizards. And I'm looking forward to playing the second half of the amazing story we kicked off last week, and I will be playing as Bombastio.
Right. Hey, special guest, who are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Trevor Adams, and excited to be here again. Pronouns he, him, and I am playing Toots Magahoots, your friendly inventory ghoul-again.
Awesome. Love it. As previously mentioned, my name is Colin Kelly, pronouns he, him, and I will be playing Sales Spectacular Plaid Michael Shoot. Whoop.
I muted myself. I don't know how I did that. Hi, everybody. I am Aki, as we said before, and I will be playing Castanet, who is the innovator of the group, the one who likes to come up with all the ideas. My pronouns and my character's pronouns are they, them.
Awesome. As we mentioned before, today we're playing Business Wizards, which is an amazing indie RPG all about fusing the world of business and wizardry. Actually, I guess it's kind of what it says on the tin. But I'm going to go ahead and shut up now, and let's pass it over to our game master.
All right, everyone, let's get back into it. When we last time on Business Wizards, the team who works for Wizard Acquisition Services, a sort of supplier, maybe kind of a provisioner, a crate and barrel for wizards going on adventures, if you will, realized that their shrinking sales numbers were probably due to the fact that they only appealed to one of 13 possible classes that they could be provisioning. However, they wanted to take a small, get some low-hanging fruit, so they decided to branch out and try to get the message out to bards. One of the bards that I think it was Castanet knew about was Swish Roberts, who is the new experimental hot act in town, and they figured that they could probably get him some platinum dragon sales for some of his weird instruments. So they went to Castanet's loyal weredog, took them to the edge of town, where they discovered a basement-dwelling green dragon who was surprisingly friendly and mature for someone who plays video games all day and hangs out in his basement. And he went out on a date with Toots McHoots. While out on a date at Poison Applebee's, they discovered that the Basement Dragon's father was actually the Platinum Dragon manager of Swish Roberts, who is apparently incredibly persnickety about his lawn. While Toots was finding this out, the back door of the suburban townhome that the dragons live at slid open, and Bombastio has just stepped out onto the lawn of the Platinum Dragon, who is sitting on a riding lawnmower, staring up at the house at you, and that is where we were last time. Just before we start, let's go around to each of the characters. I'd like to hear what was a lesson that you learned in last game, and what is something that you're looking forward to in this game. So let's go with Plaid. Plaid, what's something you learned? What's something you're looking forward to?
Well, I learned that my patented super allergy-filled brownies are not nearly the selling point that I thought they were, which is a surprise to me because I was pretty sure everyone loves brownies all the time. But one thing that I am incredibly excited for is landing this deal. As a representative of the sales department, I know that we need to hit our bottom line, and Swift Roberts is absolutely the way to do it.
Great. Babastio, what's a lesson learned?
Well, that's a really good question. And the way I'm going to answer that is by telling you that, as far as I'm concerned, I had no idea the level of squalor that certain dragon teenagers descend into when they're living by themselves in the basement of their father's townhome. Let's just say there are some things that you can't unsee.
I was hoping I wouldn't remember that, actually. Castanet, something you're looking forward to.
Right, yeah, I wanted to fulfill the full request there, and I only did half of it. So I just wanted to make sure that, we're fulfilling all of our objectives. And something I'm looking forward to is, seeing everybody kind of workshop the team dynamic together and really accomplish this as a group. I think that our workflow is really developing, and I'd like to see it develop even further. So I just can't wait for the meeting at the end where we break it down.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for that. Castanet, please, what's something that you learned?
I think Castanet learned that they are full to the brim of amazing ideas, but the real MVP of their team is definitely their dog Patches. Without Patches, there's so many of these great and wonderful ideas that our Explorer Castanet wouldn't be able to fully realize. And so, Patches is definitely getting lots of treats when we come home from this, regardless of the outcome. But speaking of regardless of the outcome, I mean, obviously what I'm hoping for is that, well, one, this Platinum Dragon won't immediately incinerate us for being in his yard. And two, that we actually, managed to land this deal. Let Swift drop us on our team.
And Toots?
Yeah, so it was a big learning lesson, big learning day for me at work, going on a field trip, doing all that stuff. I think what I learned is that the fear of being lost in the shadow of legacy of your family is sort of a universal concept that transcends all creeds and all walks of life. And I think that's pretty neat that there's more that connects us than keeps us apart. And I love that. And I'm going to say that because it was V who opened that door to me, I look forward to deepening my connection with V and seeing what other truths that may unlock about myself. I recognize he's a teenager, and maybe it's just going to be a friendship because we don't want to be inappropriate here. But I'm pretty young too, so maybe that's okay. I'm not sure. And now that I say it out loud, I feel weird.
I'm so glad you brought up V, and I'm so glad that you phrased it that way, because now I can do some advanced storytelling practice. So the advanced storytelling practice is Toots, you come back from Poison Applebee's with V. You come back to the townhome, and you see a vast plume of smoke rising from the backyard. Everyone else, now a little pop-up on the bottom of the screen says, 15 minutes earlier, and Bombastio is sliding open the screen door. Take it away.
Excuse me, sir? 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 And I'm just like calling out to the dragon with my fingers raised like this. Sir, could you stop the lawnmower, please?
He doesn't hear you. It's a very loud and expensive seeming riding lawnmower.
Hello, hi. And there's just like, frantic waving. Hopefully big motion will get the dragon's attention.
Why don't you guys make me this sounds like you're trying to do actual work, so make me a perpetrate roll, both of you.
Okay, here we go. I rolled a 4. The highest I could possibly roll.
Oh, so it's a crit.
Yes.
Ah, all right. And you, Bombastio?
I rolled a 6.
That's the highest. No, you are a D8. I fear that a 6 is not a success.
No, I'm a D10. Sorry.
Yeah, you're a D10.
Plaid is a D8.
Yeah, a 6 is not a success. I'm sorry to say. So you will have to take a condition. Your bombastic voice did not alert the dragon, and that must be hard to bear.
Wait, actually, before we go forward with that, can I use my magic mic and roll with advantage?
Ooh, I think that you should get advantage for using your magic mic.
So just to add this into the narrative, I have my magic item is actually this magical microphone that amplifies my bombastic and extended explanations. So I'm going to say that I actually spoke into the mic, but I tried to get the dragon's attention and hopefully amplified my voice over the obnoxious noise of this very loud ride-on lawnmower. So I'll roll a D10 again and hope to succeed on the second roll. I rolled a 6 again.
No.
I think you owe me a condition here, Bombastio.
All right. Give me a second. I think I was crabby and existential before, right?
Yes, I have existential and crabby written down for you.
Okay. Well, I feel probably like overworked is my next condition, and I've got 3.
This has been a much more stressful session than usual. However, while Bombastio was unable to alert the Platinum Dragon on the riding lawnmower, these are the sort of challenges that face a modern business wizard. I think that Castanet was indeed successful, and not merely successful, but successful in a way that no one else can take credit for. So I think Patches is probably going to be involved in this explanation. Castanet, how do you get the attention? How does this go down?
So I start waving my hands, and Patches, who's a very large dog, so this is not going to be immediately threatening to Patches, actually sort of runs out and like beside the lawnmower and kind of like barks and does like the hoppy, like get the attention of somebody kind of thing as they run alongside. And I think that's what helps to get the attention. My waving, and then Patches, at a safe but parallel distance running alongside the lawnmower.
All right.
I don't want anyone to mistake this dog being perfectly safe.
All right. Excellent. The Platinum Dragon takes one look at this dog, this unknown dog on his precious manicured lawn, and there is going to be a lot of fire breathing going on. So I would like all 3 of you to make a liquidate roll to avoid being set on fire during this situation. This is a true combat situation you guys are in here right now. It is no longer
I rolled a 4 on my D4 again.
Oh my God, Patches!
Oh yeah, bud. I rolled a 1.
Okay, I also rolled a 1.
Oh,
okay. So you have both botched. And however, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that your company is like an abusive, toxic, and nightmarish family, which I think you could maybe make an argument if one of you wanted to. I would actually require you to make this argument to me. Maybe that gives you advantage in some sort of combat situations like this. What do you think? You guys want to fight for it, or do you want to just take your lumps and bodge?
No, I mean, I think really a part of our business community is really knowing how to handle the heat. We end up in all sorts of situations, and if you merely collapse just because things are getting a little steamy, you would not cut it in this company of ours. So I would argue that we probably have weekly fire drills and fire training sessions, which actually involves us avoiding being on fire.
Yes, and in fact, I'm probably the source of the detailed explanation of exactly what you're supposed to do in a fire. Bombastio is sort of the father of this family, toxic as it may be, and he gathers everyone together every week and has looked up in great detail this information. So that people are up to date on safety procedures. They know which exit to take when something goes down. And I mean, do we all know about like ducking and rolling out of the way when a dragon shoots a fireball at you? Because I feel like those long lectures included that.
So I hear what you folks are saying, and the only problem is that when I look at your company's weaknesses, you're over specialized, you're very squishy, especially at low levels, and you're overconfident. And so I know you're trying to tell me that you have advantage here, but maybe you should just take your lumps and take the condition, and we'll talk about this later.
Oh no.
Is it possible, because I believe this would be the fourth condition for Bombastio, but Plaid has always really respected the managerial style of being up in everyone's business all the time. Could Plaid somehow like take the shot for both of them?
So one thing that I would be remiss if I didn't point out, having all four conditions, while very bad, does mean you're still standing. It's only when you can no longer take a condition that you go down.
Not sacrifice himself.
I just felt Plaid deserved to know.
No, he's very beautiful linen jacket that he does not want to get. I guess.
So like I'm standing there in the line of fire, and I notice you kind of try to go forward, but then you go like this, like maybe like, oh, I don't want to sacrifice this jacket, and you kind of balk the last second there.
What's true for Plaid is true for Colin. Maybe I'll. Nah.
All right.
I have one last ditch effort idea. Is it possible that Castanet could cast a spell to protect them from fire? Fire is one of my words of power.
Ooh, absolutely. What a great suggestion. Tell me what spell you're casting and how it goes down.
Sure. As Castanet is leaping away, they see that their compatriots are not so nimble. And so with a wave of their hand, they kind of like swoop up across their body, and a gust of wind releases from their hand that kind of like pushes the flames to the side. And it's like, this deadline's come down to the wire. Please release my friends from fire, kind of, swoosh with their hands. And just a big
rhyming is very appealing. Spells always work when they rhyme.
Yeah. But yes,
right.
That's what they do to protect their friends from potentially getting real crispy. Coworkers, colleagues. Sure.
Friends. You see a bolt of fire coming for you, and for a moment it crosses your mind, this could be it. This could be an experience where I am stressed. And then it's swept away by a wave of Colette's hand. The fire splashes off harmlessly onto the lawn, burning all of the burning over the patio area and most of the a small patch of lawn. The platinum dragon, his form twists and bends, and then before you, instead of a giant dragon on a riding lawnmower, you see he basically looks like J.K. Simmons. And he says,
Yes.
"Damn it! I just sprayed Roundup on that patio, on the weeds on that patio, just this week. I'm gonna have to start over again. This is an incredibly stressful time for me."
We're so sorry to have disturbed you. We did not mean to surprise you or cause you any alarm. We're not here to.
Then why did you send a dog at me and shoot fire over my lawn?
He was just. We didn't shoot the fire.
Castanet, the fire was an accident. Absolutely. We apologize for invading your personal space. Fire is obviously just a random happenstance. We would never blame you for that. Of course not.
I'm not an idiot. I know I shot fire at you.
Well, we didn't send the dog after. We were merely trying to get your attention, but I apologize if Patches scared you.
Patches seems like a lovely person. I'm more concerned about 3 strangers in my home.
We were actually let in by your son.
Oh, God. Are you some of his drug-using friends?
No, we would not
at
dream
all.
of being such one of those youthful reprobates. We are merely representatives of WASP, your local wizarding supply depot.
What the hell are wizarding supply? These are more questions than you're answering. Also, I wish my son was more social, so it's kind of a shame that he doesn't have friends.
We came with a proposition. You see, we are hoping to requisition some of your beautiful scales for a project that we're working on for our company.
What? You want my skin?
Perhaps just some of your sloughed off leavings. Certainly not of your resplendent scales that you currently have, but something that you've perhaps left in the dustbin that we could get our hands on. Not, of course, because we want to turn your beautiful platinum into any kind of financial gain. Though, take a note on that, Bombastino. If we could get scales, we'd just turn them into. But no, sir. We are looking to use your scales to create musical instruments of the finest caliber. I believe you've heard of Swift Roberts.
Swank Roberts? Yes, I'm his manager. Toots, by the way, Toots, you're back in the house at this point.
You're his what?
I'm Swift's manager.
Just a moment. Team meeting.
Huddle.
Wait, is that Toots? That was a very fast date.
Toots will kind of walk outside and like he's still inside chatting with V, and just like kind of a big nervous smile on his face.
Yeah, man, I thought that was fun. It's cool hanging out with you.
Yeah, you're just really easy to talk to and spend time with. It feels like I haven't really connected with another person. I'm always just working so much, and it's nice to take a minute and relax and just be.
It's important to have hobbies, Even though my dad is kind of a pain in the ass, at least he cares about gardening.
Yeah, he's got that thing. I think I see my coworkers are trying to get my attention for some reason. But like, if you're free later, I'd love to play some video games or something. I've literally never done that.
Oh, yeah, cool, man. Come on down sometime. I'll give you my number.
Cool.
Gives you puts it in your phone. His name is like the contact wraps around a couple of lines when it comes out. It's like Villa McKellen and it's with ...
Thanks.
All right, dude. I'll see you in a bit.
All right. I give him a high five. So strong. And then I'll fly outside. Oh, hey, how's everything going here? Thanks for the company card. That was great. Well, this is expired, or I had to pay out of pocket, but it was a nice idea.
Well, we would have reimbursed you if you didn't waste 5 minutes of the company time.
No, beans.
you should meet V's father, who happens to be the agent for Swift Roberts.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. You like now?
Now? No, come on, team. We need to re-strategize something special here. We have a direct line to Swift.
Yeah. And if he's the agent, he kind of like tells him what to do. So if we convince him, we don't even need to convince Swift. He'll just do it, or Swank.
SWAT Roberts is, immaterial at this point. What really matters is if we can get the agent on board and get the scales, like that. That's kind of our ticket to everything. He's probably not just, SWAT's manager. He's probably like manager to a bunch of other people too.
Yeah. We're getting the big fish now. Okay. Well, he loves his garden. So if we could help, like, materialize his truest vision using magic, I think we got a real shot here.
So I have a spreadsheet of lawn care services that we can reach out to with a marketing department effort that'll take, just a couple weeks. We can get our folks on it, run through the list.
We don't have a couple of weeks. The concert is today.
Oh, no.
Or is it at the end of this week? It's at the end of this week.
It is.
We can't go through all the layers.
I think it's
Can't go through all of the layers of bureaucracy.
It's happening right now.
Only one of us was a druid. Oh, we should have branched out our clientele earlier.
Branch.
But Toots, you haven't.
I don't actually remember when this concert is supposed to be.
Toots, you haven't.
You look on your day planner and you see that the concert is penciled in for immediately when the story requires that it happen at the next opportune moment. That's where it's written down.
Imminent. The concert is imminent.
It's imminent.
But Toots, that's an excellent point. The difference between trying to convince a bard to do something and trying to convince a manager to do something are completely different. Bards are idiots. A manager is about business.
Well, do you want to work on him? Maybe we can find Swift and work on him.
Divide and conquer. Fascinating idea.
Well, maybe this guy will give us some notion of where we could, hang out with Swift. And in the meantime, we'll find out what this guy needs that he doesn't have.
What is keeping his lawn from being as majestic as he wants it to be? In fact, if we could find some way to make his lawn the truest version of itself, I think we'll be able to really land this sale.
Oh, wow, what a great idea.
Thank you, dude.
Look, far be it from me. I've been very patient. My doctor has told me to work on my anger. And I think that I've now given you at least 5 minutes to talk among yourselves. 4 strangers in my house, one of them an owl who just came in, after you damaged my lawn and upset me. So I really think that I'm crushing it on the whole, anger management thing right now. And so if you could tell me what your plan was, because presumably you were adult people who came here with an idea of what you were going to do to convince me to give you my skin, that would be great, because I am really drawing a blank here and I'm running out of patience, and there's already fire damage on the lawn. So I figure, why worry about a little more?
My good friend, you are 100% correct. We are definitely adult human beings who have a plan why we are here, except for the owl. That's true, Toots.
I was about to say.
That was rude of me. But here at our company, we really value our connectivity with local interests such as yourself. We can't help but notice that your lawn is, or was, relatively pristine.
Yes, I can't help but notice that either. I'm glad we're all on the same page here.
But let's be real. To businessmen such as ourselves, is anything ever enough? Answer, no. How can we help you turn this lawn into something outstanding?
I suppose that you could put the grass back on the part of it that has the scorch marks.
That would be a good maneuver, wouldn't it? Does anybody have a bit of sparkle or something to make a lawn better?
Well, I hate to say this, Plaid, but all of my spells relate with explaining, so I might be able to tell someone else how to do it, but...
Oh, I'm pretty sure I could scream a tear in the fabric of reality to get back into our warehouse, and they might have something there where we could like bury the skull of an ancient druid that we've got in storage, and that will immediately bloom some flowers and stuff.
Wait. You have skulls of ancient druids in stock?
I mean, a couple.
Listen, Toots. Sorry, just a sec. And he kind of like scoops Toots off to the side. Okay, look. You seem like a sane person, Al.
Oh my God! Thank you.
Here's the thing. I care about my lawn, but it's not like a wedding cake or anything. I'm not trying to make it look perfect. I enjoy the experience of working on it. And so if you could bring me a couple of dragon skulls, or a couple of druid skulls, I think I could really set them up around here and really on some pedestals. That would really, kind of tie the space together. I'd enjoy having that experience of kind of arranging the lawn in that way. So that'd be great. Do you think you could do that?
Yeah, I totally can. May I ask, not only to not be incinerated, but also potentially for you to agree to some sort of deal or arrangement, in which case we would have maybe access to one of your clients to do some advertising on our behalf.
Well, I can do my best. Which client? I suspect I know what client you're talking about, though.
Yeah, Skank Bobberts.
All right. Here's what I'll say. Bring me the druid skulls, and I will do my best.
That's all anyone can ever ask. Also, is it cool if I come over later to play Xbox with your kid? Or Hexbox, sorry.
Oh, he is getting some friends. Good for him. Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, of course.
Oh, cool. Did we ever? I don't think I ever got your name, sir.
Oh, it's Karamathalmadash, Kashtadash, the Targash, Defiler of the Western Wastes.
All right, Mr. Wastes, I'm gonna be right back. Also, I don't know if you have sensitive ears, but maybe cover them up for this part.
Thank you.
Toots.
Yeah.
Now, there's a set of forms that you're going to need to fill out if you're going to take anything out of that warehouse and bring it over here, especially rare items like skulls. We have a whole process in Wizard Services for providing people with magical totems. So I just want to warn you that if you don't fill out the forms in the precise order that the forms are in, well, I just want to let you know that...
Bombastio, I hate to tell you this. I reach into my bag and I pull out several of the forms and unroll them and then I grab sunglasses out of nowhere and say, "It's my job."
Yay! Is this like a sports montage moment? Because I feel like...
Give me
Okay,
a
here we go.
perpetrate roll, Toots, for this sports montage. Or this inventory montage.
Okay, I was gonna cast a spell because I gotta
Sure.
get all back there. I could do both.
Do both.
Okay. Well, let me roll the perpetrate first. I'm overworked, which means I have disadvantage. Success anyway. That's a 3 and a 4, both of which work.
Can't keep Toots down.
So the way that this magic works, I'm casting a spell called Reality Tear. I clap my hands together and then my wings over my claws and I begin to scream and a blade of fissure of energy begins to warble and distort as I step through and it takes me right into the warehouse and then I walk down and I fill out a couple forms. I have to scream the entire time to maintain the fissure, so it's super obnoxious. Because my word of power is cacophonous. And then I collect a couple skulls, and I actually bring 5. I was only planning on giving 3, but I wanted them to have some options because they are of various races and do add a different aesthetic. So I bring back a couple options for Mr. Wastes. And then I stop screaming.
That was a very special experience. I will never come up with a good idea again.
Sorry, I'm writing down reality tear and attaching it to my character sheet.
Excellent. So on that sticky scroll, tutoriality, you brought back scrolls. These are great. These are. And he just he seems kind of lost for a second. He puts one over there.
Yeah, he's got a feng shui over there,
and he kind of moves them. He's just kind of messing around with them. Oh, right. Swami's Roberts. Okay, I'll level with you. Nobody's heard from him in 6 weeks. He does this occasionally, and I can tell you the region that he's in. So if you go, it's near the concert area. It's downtown. Under the bridge, there is the source of impenetrable fog. And it's in the fog district. I'm sure you've seen it. It's
I don't think anybody's seen the fog district.
Good one. We're pretty sure he's in there somewhere. So good luck.
All right. Thanks for the heads up, and I'll see you later, sir.
Oh, thanks. Say hey to V for me.
Will do.
Thank you, sir. We will be getting out of your hair, but here is the business card. We would love to do any work with yourself or any of your wonderful clients as we move forward into these exciting new business opportunities. And perhaps even we could have our junior sales representative, Toots, back to chat with you more.
Whatever. He's just...
Did Toots just get a promotion, manager?
Heck yes. Toots is getting a promotion and a bonus for filling out those forms so well. I am proud of you. Proud, my friend. That was outstanding workflow, and I am completely excited for the future. We might even be getting you out of inventory someday, but you're just getting promoted to a different level of inventory.
You will need to do inventory as well as being a junior sales representative. Those are 2 60-hour-a-week jobs, but I am sure you will be able to balance it with your stellar and outstanding shrieking ability, right?
Do it. I'm doing 2 jobs?
Yes.
Do I get paid for 2 jobs?
No.
Oh.
Yay. Most of us are doing more than 1 job at a time, though. So,
luckily, Toots, you get to work with me every day.
I'm actually genuinely excited about that. I feel like you've got a lot to teach me.
I'm so glad you guys are bonding. It's just giving me great joy.
Congratulations. We're so proud of you.
I'm excited. Let's go to Fogtown and find this guy.
Let's do it.
To our magic carpet?
Yes, that's what we came on.
Oh, yeah.
Magic carpet. You swoop down to the foggy district, and then I'll do the sound effect. And it's evening. The mist has risen. You hear, Londoners coughing in the background. And it's just pea soup down here under the bridge. There are a few clubs you walk by. Neon lights occasionally penetrate the fog. There are ghostly veiled figures slipping through. And somewhere inside Swish Roberts.
Is the fog actually fog? If we take big, like, is it? I mean, it's not burning ovens, or perhaps.
Oh my God! It's just all cherry vape.
Yeah, it's the vape of 10,000 gnomes.
If it's vape, it's used enough that it does not smell particularly pleasant. It's not like yummy fog. Though
It's
really,
stale.
cherry vape is not actually.
No, it is not yummy fog.
It doesn't really
That's medicine
discern.
fog.
We rip. The only mad clouds we rip around here are, wait, Nimbus clouds.
Nice.
Thanks, landed that plane.
We are very proud of you.
So you haven't ruled out something, more insidious like cherry vape, but it seems to just be fog, garden variety, plain old fog.
So, how do we go about finding Swatch Bobberts?
I know this is not my department, but I got an idea.
Let it rip. You're doing everybody's job today.
Oh no, I don't mean to be. No, I want to be there to help you succeed. I'm not trying to take it.
No. This is good.
Toots,
Okay,
this
if
is
you-
the last good idea, okay?
Okay,
After this, no more good ideas. You get one more.
Promise.
Well, I
promise.
mean, if you keep having more ideas, we'll just promote you again. So
Oh God, no. Yay. So, if Swink Roberts deals in unusual musical sounds, I think we got to stomp this yard.
Put on a little concert of our own.
The
That
siren
is-
song for the bard who's gone lost, bringing him home to the music.
It's not a bad idea.
We have to
Well,
leave them out.
I do have my magic mic. It'll amplify any sound that goes in, but specifically and particularly sounds that have to do with explaining. Do any of you guys do spoken word, perhaps?
I screech real good.
Maybe not exactly what we're thinking, but it's in the right direction. So maybe like screamo. You guys like music, right? Like,
I could use my day planner as a kind of, a rhythmic thumping.
And Patches, has a very melodic howling.
Okay.
and Castanet, what about you? What's your musical background?
I mean, my name is Castanet. Ching ching.
Thank God you have some on you.
Ding, ding.
This is maybe the first genuinely good plan you guys have come up with.
So, Castanet will Castanet. I will create a sensuous rhythm with my planner. Toots, perhaps a lower scream.
Or like a yodel. I could do a yodel.
I think that makes sense. And Bombastino. I think if you are Bombastio. If you
That's my sister, Bombastino.
yeah, my apologies. The Bosto clan.
The Bombast
Exactly.
clan.
Yeah, the Bombasts.
They're
I
from Boston.
They're
I-
from Boston.
think if you just hop on that mic and start rhythmically explaining perhaps the safety codes of our office, I think the people around might realize it. Think it's kind of like an ironic music. The kids love irony, so
Yes. In fact, I'm going to cast a spell to make sure that my dulcet tones rock out to a sick beat. Bombastio's cool, right, guys? You love my tunes.
Hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow children. So I'm going to cast a spell that's rhythmic safety explanation.
Patches will howl in the background. Plaid and I will contribute the percussion.
the only
I'm going full Shakira back here.
The only downside of this format is I don't think we can all make this terrible noise.
No,
We
I don't.
can't.
I
It
think
would
we
be
can
awful.
imagine it.
Yeah.
Can imagine it, but yeah.
So here's how it's going to go down. You're all going to roll for this, or if you don't want to risk the roll, you can make your sound.
Oh, that's easy for me, bud.
And
I
a
don't
1,
have actual castanets.
and a 2, and a 3.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding,
When you feel a fire coming down the hall, put your hand against the back of the door. Test if it's hot. Smell for smoke. When there's a fire, it's not a joke.
A mist-shrouded figure walks out of the fog. She seems to be about 9 feet tall, but horribly hunched over in robes. What is that terrible racket? Who's bringing all of this noise to the fog district?
We are in search of a young musician by the name of Swatch Roberts.
You mean Swan Roberts?
Swift
Swap
Roberts?
Sways Roberts.
Long Roggers.
Slaughter
Swabs
Roberts.
Yeah.
Swamp
I know
Robbers.
him well. But why do you seek Swan Roberts?
We want to sign him.
Oh, but he has a label. He's very successful. Haven't you seen all of the posters? The town crier is all about this all the time.
We're a different sort of agency.
We want to endorse him.
Oh, well, you do sound pretty terrible if he's into that. All right. He's currently in his trailer. I can take you there. But first, I will require some sort of musical tribute. What is a device that you can give me that makes a horrible sound?
We have toots.
We have toots.
I was
We're-
gonna try to hide because I knew you were gonna do that.
No lie, I was going to push you, but now that both of two of my colleagues have betrayed you, Castanet in this game to go. Toots is not an object.
Oh,
Technically, we are all objects. So
Toots is not an object, and neither are you. Have a little bit more self-respect.
thank you, Castanet. That's wonderful of you to say. I
You
don't
can have my castanets. They can be pretty rackety.
that'll do.
That's actually much better, yeah.
She takes your castanets. Follow me.
Thank you, Trade Crone.
Keep making the music.
Oh,
We do.
Lame. Boo.
When you walk down the hall and there's a fire.
You walk deeper into the fog, and then looming out of it, a house or a trailer, a musician's trailer on chicken feet.
oh, cool. Yeah.
Rickety stairs leading up, cauldron bubbles out front. From inside, you hear some horrible, dark sounds.
I know I just said that, Toots, you shouldn't have any more good ideas or really do anything of value to this little endeavor of ours, but
Yep, taking a full back seat, letting you lead the charge.
I'm going to
You-
go ahead. We're going to turn the car backwards, so now the back seat is in the front.
Oh, so you want me to get in the front? Got it.
No, we're going to...
I'll be right here.
It's
There's no room for me left in the car. I'll start flying. It's okay. I need to stretch my wings anyway.
Very fair. All right, fine. Let's maybe just go up and knock on the door then.
Knocking
Great
on the
idea.
door is a great idea.
I think this is a perfect time for Plaid to show some initiative on the team.
Ah, absolutely. Number one salesman. Here we go. On the case.
Finger wands.
Ah, so good at working with the kids. All right, I'll go ahead and walk on up on that chicken door and give it a knockeroni.
All right. The door swings open, and before you, the one, the only, Swish Roberts. horribly disheveled hair, kind of blue jeany shirt, carrying a double necked lute over his shoulder, smoking a cigarette. He leans over to you. Hi.
Hello.
How did you get here?
Well, it was quite a journey. But the point is that we are here to find you because we might be your biggest fans.
Wait, stop. Hold on what you're doing. I've got to record this. He goes back and he gets a wax cylinder, a hand cranked wax cylinder from he says, okay, go on. This is good. Keep going.
We are your biggest fans, and we are here to make an offer for you that we think you're going to find will be excellent for your future as both an entertainer and a robust financial institution.
Like a bank.
Yes.
You're going to turn me into a bank.
In that you will be filled with money and be very impressive to everyone who sees you. Yes.
All right, I've got enough of this guy. All right, the owl. Send the owl up next. I want to talk to the owl.
No, you don't need to talk to the goddamn.
Oh, hey there, Mr. Skunk Bobberts.
Good to meet you, kid. You've got a different voice. I like different sounds, you understand.
Oh,
I try never to put a sound on my album till I've hunted it down and killed it.
Wait, what? Say that last part again?
Never mind. Just keep talking.
Okay. So we're here to see if we can get you to come and advertise for us at the music concert place, play your sweet tunes, and then talk about how your new partnership with us is like good and fulfilling and good for like bards and maybe druids, and those are kind of like our new two markets that we're branching into.
So you want me to advertise for owls?
Oh boy!
I love it. I'll do it. Owls are great. There's nothing wrong with owls.
We actually go by Wasp now.
You want me to advertise for wasps?
No, Wasp.
That's even better. I'll be right back. Come in. He invites you into his chicken foot house.
As we walk in, you mentioned that there's like cauldrons and all sorts of stuff. Does he have anything on the stove?
Give me an ideate roll to assess the inside of this. And since you are really into clearometrics and have extensive maps of the region, I think that you probably have an advantage here.
Well, I'm crabby, so I have disadvantage.
Cancels out. Straight roll.
Luckily, I rolled 2, and they're the same thing, so it's a big 5.
Excellent. The only thing in terms of food in this chicken trailer is like there's just stale coffee and cigarettes everywhere. It doesn't seem to be anything edible. The stove is just a hopeless amount of needles in that stove. There's nothing like it doesn't seem like a place a human could live. However, it is full of fascinating and odd instruments. You see drums made of platinum dragon scales, the aforementioned double-necked lute, and the pièce de résistance in the middle of the room. The thing making the strange noise is, of course, a foghorn or a fog machine with a flugelhorn stuck into it. And there seems to be a lot of fog coming out of the flugelhorn as well, and that's what's making this low droning sound.
He's a genius.
Just so impressive.
You know what they call that, right?
What?
That's a didgeridoo.
You're a delight, Toots McHoots. Has anybody told you that recently?
Only once in my whole life, and it was earlier today. It was me. It was great.
Well, consider this the second time.
Oh, beans!
All right. He goes over to the front of the house and he like scratches the chicken neck there, and the house kind of starts lurching forward. So now you guys are traveling somewhere.
Oh.
So I've been working here in the fog district for months. It's so muffled here. All of the sounds are like they're behind cloth. Zoo, you can get some really decent recordings here. For a few weeks, I was just taking different sizes of pipes and bashing them against each other and recording the sound of that. And then for a few weeks after that, I found a couple of barbarians to just rage and go all the time, and those were good tracks too. But I'm looking forward to this new stuff with owls and wasps. I never thought of using an entire species as a sound. I love the drones from the foghorns though, and so we just need to find some more wasp nests.
Well, so one of the things that we can tell you is we have all kinds of stuff like that in our Wizard Services division. In fact, Toots here works in inventory and can provide you with all kinds of things that make weird sounds. All you have to do is sign on the line here, 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 right here. There's also a few places you have to initial here, here, here. You get the picture, but I'll show you it in detail if you really do want to sign with us as an influencer of sorts. You know, our kind of a collaboration with our business. What are you thinking, musician man?
I do everything on my. I always send the defiler of the wastes to sign my contracts.
We have actually just came from the Defiler of the Wastes, and he sent us directly to you. I'm sure, Bombastio, we have an abridged contract that might just need a single little flourish from Swatch here.
Well,
sure
I'm gonna have to check into that, but it stands to reason that we might be able to dig something up.
All right, that sounds great.
Picture this, if you will. You are on a grand stage full of some of the most beautiful, rare instruments that can be sourced from all over the kingdom, country, the world. And it was provided to you by Wasp. And all you have to do is tell people you got all of this really cool stuff from them, and you get money from it.
And the crowd will chant your name, Swatch, Swatch, Swatch.
Swift.
Swap.
Skink.
I dig it. It's really more about the art for me. Hang on. We're here. He opens the door, and outside it's the incredibly tall crone that you saw a second ago. It says, Agatha, I need your help for this concert. These guys want me to advertise wasps. Do you think you can manage? She says,
Wasp.
Of course.
Wasp. With
Just one wasp.
He can have as many wasps as he wants.
All right. Shh.
And Splotch, what is Agatha to you? Stagehand, roadie of sorts?
She's my handler, yes.
Excellent. Well, then I'm sure we can provide you all the things that you might need for this outstanding show of yours.
It's all ready. It's all handled. Agatha is the best.
Well, then, I guess just the last question for you. Do you like brownies?
Sure. That's an odd question at a time like this. We're right before the show.
Do I have a brownie for you? It is going to be absolutely delicious. And in fact, once you eat it, I think you'll agree that you will really want to just work with us for years to come. It's going to just be very yummy.
Roll me a delegate roll to see if you can convince Swish Roberts that your allergen-infused brownies are the shit.
Well, I would actually like to make that a spell that I'm casting with my magical yum.
All right, do it.
Yeah, the spell is called the brownies of 5-year legally binding deal making. Good.
And I hold out the abridged contract, which I've dug out of my internal pockets on my business casual blazer, which has got lots of contracts in there. Hold it out.
It's just a business card that says "You in."
That's the abridged contract, indeed.
Excellent. Where he just smears a hand down it. So you've got some chocolate on there. You've got some horn oil.
Well,
that sort of stuff.
Great. Swap. I'm so glad we're doing business together. And in the small print on the back of this contract, I'm reading it right here. It says that we get to join you on stage for the concert. Guys, we get to go. We're gonna go on stage.
Yeah, it's great. So he opens the door, and you realize that the house has actually dropped you off on the stage. There is fog. There are flugelhorns. There is a crowd. There's an entire orchestra here. There's a laser light show going on. And so as Swish walks down, he waves to the crowd. And just before his throat closes up because of all the allergens and the brownies, he says, "Well, everyone, wasps!" And then at that moment, just a huge swarm, like a tide of wasps, roll over the crowd, buzzing, getting in their ears and mouth. Everybody is just flailing around, stinging. And, in any other game, it would be your job to dig yourselves out of this hole. But I see that we're at time. It's 5 on a Friday, so it's time to wrap up. And really, this is a problem for another time. So what we like to do to wrap up a session of Business Wizards when we hit our time box, when we hit the end of business, is I leave the room for a few minutes, and I'm going to turn the slideshow over to you. And what I would like you each to do is make me a slide that you can paste in that has what your quarterly contribution was. What did you do in this adventure? And then when I come back, you'll present it as if to the CEO, explaining what you did on this adventure. So I'll go away, I'll be quiet, and disappear so that you can all privately communicate. And then you'll be the ones who can work on it.
Okay.
All right.
I've already made my slide. I'm working on it right now. I have duplicated the slides so that I can make my own really fast.
Excellent.
Cool.
Oh, yes. Making a slide presentation. This is the most important part of any adventuring party. Your ability to really just make high quality presentations.
Well, I will say I'm a bit of an expert at slide presentations myself. I actually trained in it when I was a student at the Institute.
I believe that. You got your degree in it, I assume?
Oh, in a variety of business communications and strategizing and service-related magic. It's a kind of cloud or cluster of disciplines and objectives, I would say.
Yeah, okay, great. There we go. Making a slide.
Is it Demolisher of the Wastes? What's the dragon's name again?
He had a very long name.
Yes, but was it Demolisher of the Wastes? Is what I am trying to remember.
Oh, I think it was Defiler of the Wastes.
Defiler of the Wastes.
Yeah.
That is correct.
I can't believe Swift Roberts. I straight up forgot his name.
Swift Roberts. Swish. Who knows? Who cares? Oh, there was one other crit that I did this game, and I can't remember what it was.
I don't remember the last time I made like a slide.
That's actually what I spent all day yesterday doing at work. Just making a slide presentation for something. Right, I think I have completed my slide.
I've got basically what I need to say in mine as well. So
All right, then let's get back to it. It was just a scam. I was live on the line the whole time.
Surveillance.
All right,
We've been
so
tricked.
it looks. Could everyone put their name on their slide really quick? I see Plaid is first.
I put my name on there.
There's Bombastio. Awesome. Toots. And great. Let's get started. Slide number 18, I think, is first. So Plaid, you guys are all presenting at the end. It's weeks later, end of the quarter. You've been asked to present about how the Swish Roberts deal went. Go for it.
Absolutely. This was a harrowing week for our entire team. There was really some disunity as we realized that, their numbers were really not quite there yet. Luckily, I had a brilliant plan to really uplift the entire company. We set out to engage in new client bases, including some dragons, local dragons. Luckily, I was there to smooth over the conversations that were going to go totally awry, impress them all with my delicious culinary baked skills. We hunted down a guy who makes music, I guess. And then ... mission accomplished. Money for everyone. Plaid does it again.
All right, let's hear from Toots next.
Okay. I'm just there we go. Okay, so first things first, we made inroads with Mr. Wace, who's Swift Roberts' manager. We got more potential influencers on the line through him, and that's a great contact branching into that world. Knows a lot of people. We signed Skull Bonnerts to advertise for Wasp. We made a dramatic reveal of our new mascot. I'm sure you didn't see it coming. Wasps. We cultivated brand awareness with the torrent of wasps on the crowd. They'll not soon forget Wasp. I also made a new friend and had some dramatic introspection for profound awareness and discovery of myself.
Great. Bombastio.
Yes, excellent. So great job, guys. I just wanted to give some accolades to all of our team members for really working together and making teamwork makes the dream work. Am I right, guys?
Yes.
Indeed.
Thanks. Yeah, that's right. So throughout this most recent sprint cycle, we collaborated on a partnership with a platinum dragon to provide decorative magical items for a lawn improvement adventure. We sealed an endorsement with Swink Roberts through a collaborative musical initiative. Every member of the team was a contributor there. Great job, guys. We enhanced our team workflow by assuring collaboration and communication throughout the adventure. And I just wanted to highlight Toots. He achieved a promotion thanks to just a little managerial guidance and mentorship on my part. So great job, Toots. He will now be doing inventory and project management. And we are just so excited about what he's going to achieve in the coming weeks, months, and years at WASP. Round of applause for Toots, everybody.
Welcome to your forever job, Toots. You'll never leave.
And just as a final mention there before we hand it over, there was a region-wide wasp infestation that came up as a result of a risk factor involving a miscommunication with Swink Rob Nuts. And we're going to mediate that in a future sprint. So we put that in the parking lot, and we're going to loop right back to it just as soon as this meeting ends.
Great. And Castanet.
Well, as the ideas person, I did spend a little bit of time on this slide, focusing a little bit more on my contributions. But I do want to say that Patches and I were able to lead the team to the Defiler of the Wastes, who just so happened to be the agent of Swift Roberts. So we were able to help our team make that connection through a positive execution of our duties as an explorer. We also managed to successfully get the Defiler of the Waste attention. Our experience out in the wild, or more specifically, Patch's experience out in the wild, has given him the ability to properly execute attention-getting techniques. I also saved my colleagues from being burned to death. I don't feel like that's any particularly small things. And then, of course, I think the most important lesson that I learned today is that even though I'm still the best at it, I learned that I'm not the only person capable of generating ideas. There was some really great cross collaboration happening in the team, and I felt like everybody had their moment to shine.
All right.
Yeah.
After giving that presentation to the CEO of WASP, Gil, nods his head sadly and says, I appreciate what you've tried to do, and I just want you to know that I believe in all of you and think you did the best you could under the circumstances. Unfortunately, due to a large number of allergic reactions, primarily to wasps, but also some to nuts, seeds, soy products, and other elements that turned out to be in brownies that were widely disseminated to a crowd. We have had to pay a lot of liability. Fortunately, I have managed to prevent too many let-goes by finding a larger entity to come and help to guide the company forward. We found a larger boat to hitch us up to. And so I'd like to introduce the new leader of the company, the Defiler of the Wastes.
Yay! That is awesome.
We've experienced a merger.
Listen, I think we got off on the wrong foot. You have to understand something about me. Wastes are terrible. And so I plant grass on them. The wastes hate it, but it's the right thing to do. That's what I'm going to do with this team.
As the number one salesman with this company, I'm very excited to work with you in order to whip this team back into shape.
I'm putting Toots in charge of this unit.
No!
Thanks, Mr.
Nepotism at its finest.
And that's Wizards. That's it, you guys.
Yay.
That's Business Wizards!
Yay! Thank you so much, Patrick.
That was amazing.
Absolutely delightful.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Trevor, for being a lovely Toots, even though you just took our gerbs. Okay. I feel like I feel like we need a come down. It's 5 o'clock, right? So like we should
It's fine.
just,
We have to go across the street.
pour a little something something and relax with some cocktails. But they'll be imaginary cocktails. Because now we're going to move into the second part of our little show where we pick your brains and ask you every single question that we ever wanted to know.
Yay!
So this is also an opportunity for you in chat, if you so choose, to ask some questions of our designers as well. This is an opportunity to maybe pick their brains about their process and get answers to the burning questions you may have. But Colin and I are going to kick it off first, and I think we'll just toss you a nice, easy one to start off with. Like, what inspired this game to begin with?
So we should decide how to hand off to each other, but I'll start talking for this one and then I'll hand it to you, Pat. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. We love puns, and we you can tell we originally, the game used to be called Bizzards because those reasons. And we have long been trying to make games that kind of hybridize total goofiness with some like soul-sucking real-world system or setting. And we actually started playing with this one quite a while ago, and we had made a board game that was actually an IndieCade selection named Democracy, and that's democracy as in SEA. So that was like pirates plus democratic procedure, or as Patrick would say, Madisonian democracy, right? And that was a similar thing of trying to like have people act like pirates, but then have there be some kind of very serious like governmental underpinnings that all kind of hung together. So this was a logical extrapolation of that, where we said like, let's just like be ridiculous about business and Silicon Valley and process and corporations, and then like have it be in a high fantasy setting. Do you want to add any context or details there, Pat?
Yeah. I think I agree with everything that was said, and I think that I'd add on to say, that's sort of at the kind of thematic level, what we were doing, and then there were a few kind of smaller elements that kind of made it turn into Business Wizards. One of the things we did with a bunch of our friends in the Kudo Plays game design group from Champion Arena, we would do this activity where we would all pretend to be wizards. And we'd pretend to stroke our beards and just say, yes, wise counsel, yes, wise, whenever we would be critiquing each other's games. And that was actually pretty fun just by itself. And we're like, wow, you could build a whole game around just, pretending to be wizards and like in a business environment, kind of critiquing other people's stuff. And it kind of, we had a lot more, we tried many different rule sets. And every time we would try different things, it turned out to just be more fun just to pretend you were a wizard. and
we
so
had like
they got cut back to this.
Yeah, we had versions, and that game design group is such an awesome group with such a great aesthetic. It's in Central Illinois, and once again, the name of that group is Kudo Plays. And we were like, oh, let's make a board game out of a Kanban board, or how can we come up with board game mechanics for this? But the pretending to be the wizards aspect of it was really what endured. And we ended up connecting with Ninth Level Games, who said, why don't you make this an RPG?
I mean, I think that's Kismet, right? Because this is clearly an apex version of that idea. I'm really glad you guys landed on this kind of structure.
I was going to say, I guess the only other thing to mention is that we also had jobs. And so that kind of helped. I worked at IBM Research for a long time, which is like the most bureaucratic organization on earth. And so, you get a lot of material because we work a lot of different jobs. So,
Nat, what was your horror story in business?
I worked in video games.
Ooh, got it. Yep, say no more.
I also am just always curious as to what people are doing in there, even though it's horrifying. I think I have an interest in soul-sucking horror of that particular kind. So worked in it a little. And yeah, go ahead.
I said it's been very interesting to play this with people, and we occasionally do run into people who have basically seem to have never worked, or at least have never worked in a corporate environment, who are, things like, you know, they run their own small business washing cars or something like that. And they just are like, wow, that sounds awful. Why, what do you guys?
Because of the pension, damn it. And I do just like the fact that a certain part of this is almost like there's a like linguistic anthropology, right? There's all sorts of turns of phrase and words that are just completely gibberish unless you have the context of the business world, which is just really, which you guys crushed, which was wonderful.
Well, one thing that you find with people, regardless of if you've worked a corporate job or not, most English-speaking people know something about that language. Because that vibe is part of the cultural consciousness, whether you've seen it by watching The Office or absorbed it from Friends or just generally existing in a modern place. And it almost feels kind of like the language of a fandom. And I really enjoy how people can just immediately pull that in, and everyone has a few of those things. Everyone has noticed those turns of phrase or had some word that was like the linchpin of their complete annoyance at their job or with someone they've related with in any organizational situation, even if it's academia or being in a class. I was saying to you guys earlier that I teach, and some of this type of process stuff comes up in those contexts too, and you feel that same cranking feeling of like, my God. So I love seeing how people they jump into the role and they're like, I know what this is.
Yeah, and the transition between the corporate language and the business and the wizard language is so smooth. Just, I am the keeper of the sacred fire of Urdun, manager of the branch regional office, keeper of the stapler. So, it's so easy to go back and forth between those two because they're both just fundamentally arcane language.
Yeah, awesome.
So you all mentioned that you're really glad that you found ninth level games, and your game system is specifically couched in a system that is kind of used throughout ninth level games systems. What made you decide how you wanted to sort of shape the actual design of this game as far as mechanics and stuff goes?
Do you want to take that one, Pat?
Yeah, I guess that it's funny, ninth level games approached us. We had the kind of board game mechanics. There were a lot of the things that you actually play with were in that game. The sticky notes were in that. Writing sticky notes was in that. Pretending to be a silly wizard with a silly wizard name was in it. And they said, why are all these board gaming mechanics in there? Why don't you just make this an RPG? And once they said that, they all said, and we have this framework, this polymorph system that you can build on top of. And polymorph has these the point of it is that you can make lots of games in it, but that it isn't. I'll use a little bit of RPG Maker trade language at this point. That it's not like one goal of making RPGs sometimes is to kind of have rules for every possible mechanic, and that's called being rules heavy. And then the other extreme is to be rules light, where most things are just kind of socially negotiated on the fly, and then a few things aren't. And oddly enough, a lot of kind of universal role-playing systems have really tended toward the rules heavy side. They're made by people who really love the art and really like to write down a lot of rules and make a lot of tables and a lot of fine fiddly details. And ninth level is just kind of the other end of the scale. They like a really light game, which makes it very easy to actually adapt lots of things into. So it didn't actually take us that long. It's just that there's the core 4 moves thing that cuts across all games. We just had to come up with some silly business words. The core 4 classes, we just had to come up with, the go-getter and the cutthroat and things like that. So there are all these resonances between all the different games in the polymorph system. If you try some of the other ones, in the princess game, it's like the charming one, the magical one, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to go back and forth.
Yeah. And the thing I'll add there is, if you look at the different games that Ninth Level has out that use polymorph, you'll see these similarities in things, different worlds, different universes, different play experiences, all on this sort of back end. And I think that they're actually running a Kickstarter right now for a more traditional high fantasy setting called Mazes. And the Mazes tagline is feels like 1979, plays like 2021, which is cool because it's like this kind of way where you can create whatever feel you want in a game, but then you get this really modern approach to the mechanics. And the way I see it is a modern take on RPG mechanics is faithful to what people have loved about RPGs since the late 70s, but also really welcoming and easy to learn for new players. And, I think one of the things we loved about it is we felt like it was inclusive in that way, but also has enough crunch and detail if you want to get in there with it that, someone who's been playing RPGs for a while can sit down with it and be like, ooh, that's really interesting. So.
Yeah. One of the major, co-directors at Ninth Level is King Tord. It's Chris O'Neill who made the Kobolds Ate My Baby RPG way back in the day. Chris is cooler and punkier than me. I was on the same RPG, the Forge forum back in the 90s, but he was the one who actually published his as a zine. And so I'll never be quite that cool, but I can kind of be near that coolness. And that sensibility is really why the attitude of kind of the Ninth Level games is they want as many people as possible to play and get into the hobby. And they want to make it as welcoming as possible. And they want to directly, kind of confront some of the, the tradition, the history of RPGs has been really white and male and came out of wargaming. And so there is always going to be that element in RPGs. And, it's fine so far as it goes. But if that's the only experience you ever have coming in RPGs, they don't seem very welcoming. Yeah. And so better to make one where you can be a cartoon princess now and again. Yeah. That will give people a different feel. And, we just want to hang out and play with people.
Yeah. Trevor, you're smiling.
I'm just look at these people that I get to spend time with today. I'm so happy. So so this originated. It was going to be a board game, had more board gaming mechanics, and then that kind of stripped down to be this. And you said that wasn't as hard as you thought it might have been. What was the biggest challenge for you coming to this style of play? If you're coming from a board game background, what was that shift like?
That's a really good question. I guess I would say for me, so I'm a writer by training and by trade, and I've played RPGs some, and my specialty in terms of writing RPGs is strongly around doing world building and setting a tone. And because I'm kind of part of the new vanguard of players who have started having groups of people who I feel comfortable playing with more recently. And so for me, what was challenging about it was actually trying to figure out what the flow is of how people learn how to play and make characters and acclimate to the group and understand how to relate with one another when they're in the game. Because it's not D&D, which is of course where most of us end up first, sometimes I was as we were working on it, what do you do first? And what's challenging about RPGs is that you don't always get to tell people in the manuscript what to do first, because it's this kind of non-linear experience of absorption and understanding and learning. You sit and read it and enjoy it and live in it. And board games are very procedural, and I'm used to the idea of kind of having that level of control as a writer of traditional fiction and then as a board game developer. And it's kind of given me this experience of needing to relinquish control and just be I need to think about how people learn, but then also understand that people will interact with it and learn it in lots of different ways, and people will play it in different ways. And there's no right or wrong way to play it, even if there's a thing in here that says, you know, oh, make sure you do this on the character sheet. If people don't want to do it, it's fine. And just adapting to that was challenging. But then also in the long run, I was just like, I'm so glad that I landed in this. I only want to write RPGs for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah,
Pat,
I had a great time.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I had a really great time. I played D&D back as a kid, years and years, and really was into it. Did a lot of stuff. I played lots of weird indie systems also, and was into that scene for a long time. So it was sort of like a natural fit. But in addition, because we were starting with something, I agree with everything Nat said, and it's odd when you are taking things out to know how to take certain things out and not other things out. One of the things that I think is really effective, I run Wizards a lot, or Business Wizards a lot on startplaying.games. So I've run a lot of these in the same format that we just did. I use the slide deck and everything because I think that's hilarious. And the one of the things I think is really effective about it is setting up those kind of story structures. So you have things like, oh, we're going to have a team meeting at the beginning. We're going to scope an adventure together, and then we're going to run through it, and then we're going to have a 360 review at the end. We're going to pivot at 5 o'clock. We're going to have a 360 review at the end. Those are all game structures that would be really sort of enforced in a board game. It would be like, the rule is that you have a 360 review, right? And in the RPG format, you just have to make them so much fun that everyone just wants to do them. It's like, if you want, you can do a 360 review where you make slides and then you give a presentation, and everyone is like, yes, let's do that. That is fun. In a board game, you can just tell people to do it and they'll do it. But in an RPG, you really have to, use rhetoric to convince people that it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
So that was hard.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because our RPGs are like just wacky and fun, and it's about playing with other people in a way that board games are a little bit more like, there's more of an option to say, oh, I'm playing for reasons of strategy, and I don't necessarily care if I'm harmonizing with people, and that's acceptable. And I think I would say for that reason, ironically, we started in board games, but then like, this is our first published game. And when we used to design board games, we would be like, we had this awful problem of like, oh, like, let's design a board game. And then I would like, when we were making a board game version of this, I was like ordering these plastic pens on Amazon that looked like feather pens. And, he Pat would be
this
like,
is our biggest internal drama.
Oh,
this is
not.
yes,
oh my gosh, look, Colin has it. Yes, it's exactly that. Like, and I was like, we need this. And Pat would be like, sourcing this is going to be a pain in the ass. Like, we're not going to be able to
we
put
will
it
never
up on,
publish this game.
like, print and play or whatever. And I would be like, but it's really necessary for the feeling of the game. And then we were like, oh, we're actually better at designing RPGs. We just have to like relocate our creativity into that mentality. And like, now we have this one, and we've written another one for 9th level that's going to come out probably next year. And yeah, lots of stuff is coming. I think it's okay for us to talk about our other one of these, right, Pat?
You're actually the marketing lead for
I
this.
think it's fine. There aren't
I think
secrets.
that's your call. If you don't want to, I mean, like,
We'll keep it under our hat. We will not broadcast this live or anywhere.
No, it's totally cool. It's Pat, do you want to talk about it?
Ninth level is in chat saying yes, you absolutely can. So
all right.
Go.
I'm glad they're
great.
listening. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So the one that we have in the pipe right now, Business Wizards is sort of in the world of Kobolds Ate My Baby. It's this wacky magical world that mixes sort of modern world and magical world. The other big property that's going on in 9th level right now is the Excellence world. And so that is, the first one of those is called the Excellence, and in it you play basically the princesses from Adventure Time are your characters. And yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And there was a that one was hugely successful. And one of the things I really love about that is when people see that, when kids see that, they think this game is for me.
Mm.
And when they see something like D&D, they're like, maybe that game is for, someone else, right? But like a young kid can go and see Excellence on the Shelf and think like, I want to play that because it's got a cartoon princess on the cover and I want to be a cartoon princess. My son loved it. It was he thought it was super fun. We played it with all his friends. It was super great. And that was so successful that there was a follow-up game made for that, which is Nancy Druid.
Mm-hmm. That's coming out this year.
That's coming out this year, where you are, druid. It's the druids of the, but it's still cartoon princess world. It's just that you're druids. You're in the forest. You all have animals, and you love to investigate mysteries and write stuff in your journal.
But that's not the one that we wrote.
And the one that we wrote, that's Adriel Wilson. They wrote that one, and the one that we wrote that is also in that same kind of universe is right now we're titled is High School Horses, and you are magical horses at a magical boarding school, and so it's sort of My Little Pony mashup with Harry Potter, and you make
My Little Potter.
You make friendship bracelets for each other, and
that one has actually a really fun mechanic for botches. So when you roll a 1, so in that game, you give like a friendship bangle to another horse, and whoever gave you a friendship bangle that's woven into your mane, when you botch, that horse helps you out. So they come and kind of assist.
Power of friendship.
Yes.
It's magic.
Indeed.
That sounds really delightful and really kind of can appeal to a lot of people, like not just horse folk, but anyone who had a friend.
Yeah, I actually, that kind of prompts my next question is like, when you guys first got into like possibly creating this as a board game or and then switching into RPGs, was there a target audience that you were really hoping to reach? Was it kids? Have you decided at some point that you would really like to target that audience? What was that sort of process for you?
Audience-wise, I think Business Wizards, we were more towards adults and thinking, anyone that's had a job and, thinking of Business Wizards as being in the same universe as Kobolds Ate My Baby. Kobolds Ate My Baby, one of the taglines for that is that it's a beer and pretzels RPG. So the idea is like, you're shooting the shit, you're at a bar, you're hanging out with friends. You can just sit down and play this. The rules are simple to learn. You can do it in 1 or 2 hours. It can end. It is goofy. It riffs on D&D, and that's just what it is.
You play as kobolds. You die every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
You're just trying to find something to eat. And you're really bad at it. Whenever anyone mentions King Torque, everyone has to say "All hail King Torque" or you get killed.
Yeah,
that's how the game works. It's dumb. It's almost a drinking game. And then Business Wizards is a little bit more it's like the thing that you do before you get off for work. Version of it.
Well, I would say, I think really the audience there is, I don't know. I mean, there's a certain contingent where it's appealing to people who already play RPGs and know the high fantasy tropes, so you can reference things. But I mean, we've played it with folks who aren't like big RPG people and they're learning it in Business Wizards. And again, everybody knows the business language, and most people know that elves exist and dragons exist, and any fantasy thing is game for this. So it's sort of like, really, I think our core audience is just, we want to hang out with other people that like bad puns. And like, I think that's the audience.
Go telling jokes about, corporate culture and wizards and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I don't want to make the audience sound narrow, but it's because like, apparently everyone watches The Office. Like, this is one of the things we found in marketing the game is like, there is like a huge community of people who are basically into laughing at work culture. It's like this massive area of active therapy in America right now.
Yeah.
Love that phrase. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I don't think we were thinking like, when we were writing it, we were thinking of very specific people that we would play it with as an audience. And it just so happens that there are other people like those people that we would.
Fun how that works out. Turns out if you make games for just your friends are kind of like other people too. Speaking of friends, I've got to ask this question. I've actually been in a writing partnership myself for over a decade now. So anytime I see teamwork like this, I got to ask, how'd you two find each other? What's the story here? How did this partnership kind of get started?
I mean, I guess the answer is that I went to Nat's fitness class.
Yes, actually. I know. It's so crazy. But really the actual answer to that though is that we taught at the same university, or you were
in a small town. Yeah.
Yes. He's a scientist, so he was doing a postdoc. I taught English, and I don't know. I mean, it's like when you live in a small college town, it's like the nerds always kind of find each other and converge on the same social events. But in that particular town, like one of the things that people do is work out a lot. Like, so I did actually used to teach group fitness classes, and we had a mutual friend who also taught fitness and was in Pat's lab, and she introduced us to each other. I was like, oh, you're the guy. He's had gray hair like that since he was probably in his mid-20s, I think, right?
I started getting it in my teens.
Yeah.
Hella cool. I'm sure filled with its own challenges, but
I empathize. Have my own salt and pepper ridiculousness happening here.
I always tell people I was raised in a very haunted house.
Joke.
But anyway, the first game we made together was that game Democracy. And we did the Kudo Plays design competition, which is this really cool set of events that are kind of like an incubator for people to make board games and get feedback and learn about how to make games. And it was kind of on a whim. We just went to their pitch night and pitched this thing where we were like Madisonian democracy and pirates, and people were like, sounds good. Yeah. But we do a lot of stuff together. We've co-written creative nonfiction. So we have an essay that we wrote together that's published on the Kenyon Review online. If you guys like literary stuff, you can check that out. And that will give you a little bit of insight into our personal connection behind the scenes, because we've been working together and living together for about 6 years, right, Pat?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, we do lots of, like, doing creative collaborative work is kind of like the core of our actual relationship, that we just spend all our time doing that. So Business Wizards is maybe our most successful one.
So far.
But so far, yeah. Watch out.
I mean, that's lovely, right? Like if you can have a great friend, you can bond over play, but then if you can start using them to inspire your creativity, right? You can both start gassing each other up, and then the ideas start kind of just keep growing and growing and growing. I think that's a really powerful creative engine.
I was just gonna be like, oh, we just made up a random, like one time, like last week, we were like laying there making up an entire new RPG that hopefully we'll write the rules down for that sometime next week.
Oh my God. Yeah. This literally like we do this every 5 minutes. Like this is about you're like a small town who's drafting their own like B-list superhero team. And you're just like having interviews for B-list superheroes and trying to decide who makes the cut and who has.
I want to play that game right now.
Yep.
I know. I was gonna be like, Toots and McHoots could actually be one of those superheroes.
He's like, a plausible character.
Yeah, it was like you do, like you portray a B-list superhero, and then you kind of do a job interview, and then you have to decide of superheroes portrayed, you cut one and then you have to cut two.
You cut two. You have to
out
cut
of the
one for
group.
budget
Yeah.
because you can't afford them.
Yeah.
They're too good.
Yeah.
And one because they're actually useless.
So it's like, who are you
So
going to
you're
pick
just going
to like?
middle of the road.
Yes.
You want
yes.
you want mediocre superheroes only.
That is a fun target to hit.
Just fine.
I do not excel in any way.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Aki. You excel in lots of things. I know the truth.
Not
Dang it, Colin. How dare you turn the gag right then and there.
I do have one last question because I think we're kind of closing in on the end, but I also don't want to rob you of any great questions, Aki, if you've got something.
No, go. I've actually been quite chatty in this first block of question asking, so you go for it.
I just really want to ask y'all, because obviously, I really hope in chat we have some people who are interested in getting into this field, right? I think one of the great things about IndieCade is the way that it encourages young creators and really kind of uplifts, not only independents, but, just people who want to kind of get into this. So I would love to hear any advice you have for game designers who are kind of just getting started on their journey.
I always talk.
Secrets, please.
I know. I always talk first, but I'll go ahead first because since I teach game design, I have a lot of input on this. I would say just thinking about the IndieCade community and the thing we were saying about making games for your friends. A great way to get going on it is go to a con or some group environment where you can feel like you're part of a con group, a community, some kind of setting of people where they have stakes in you turning whatever like wacky idea you riff, like the one we were just talking about, into something that they can play with. So like Trevor being like, I would play that right now. That is a necessary dynamic to push through the difficulty of actually finishing a game. Like just playing with you is so much fun, Trevor. And like then thinking like if we lived in the same city or we were part of the same community, like say in a Discord or a Slack team where people were working together on games, and you were just like, that's awesome. You guys rock. I want to play that. When are you going to have it done? It's so important because it's all well and good to give the advice. And I hear this a lot of, you just got to make games. You just got to do it. You just got to churn it out. Just work on it. And that's certainly true, but it's really hard to finish one. And I think the thing that helps that happen is just knowing that there is a group of people around who are like, yeah, dude, you should totally finish that. That's so awesome. And just goofing around with people and having it be about kind of like wowing or impressing like a couple friends who think your humor is like the best, if that makes sense. So for me, it's about people. And like when we went to IndieCade with our first board game, which we never published it, but it was so successful because it got us this group of people from IndieCade, many of whom we're still in touch with and who have like grown into these long-term creative partnerships or friendships over the years. And I still am like, oh, I'm making this to show it to those people.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I think I just echo everything that Nat said, that I do think it's important for you to just start working on stuff, but that the games are only half made out of, electrons if it's video games or paper if it's a RPG or a board game. The other half of them is actually made out of the people that you play the game with. And so you actually have to, there is no way to make a game that doesn't involve building a game community, because you literally can't play it with someone. It's an activity that you do with someone else. And so you have to have a group of people that you're doing this for, not just to, emotionally to maintain the momentum. That's very important. But also like tangibly, the game actually is that group of people. And so Business Wizards is like the people that we've played it with, including you guys and all of the watchers at home. Everyone is included.
I have one more thing to add that I just thought of, but I realized I might have just interrupted your ending, Pat. Were you?
That was my homily. That's
Cool.
it. Like everyone's part of this. Man.
I know.
Just like V said.
Yep. Oh my gosh, I love him. So my other thing is, this is just a little piece of like realistic advice about making games, which is, if you want to make RPGs or really do any game design, something I always recommend to people is, it's certainly valid to follow your dream and make your weird, innovative, no one's ever seen it before thing. But if you want to be serious about game making, you should start your projects with comps. And comps are comparable titles that are similar to what you're making. So almost every game that's out there on the market and being sold on Kickstarter or in a store, there is some statement a person can make that would say it's X plus Y. Pat even alluded to this earlier when he was talking about Business Wizards and saying like, oh, it's a system for making RPGs, but it's more simple. So like you could be like, it's sort of like GURPS, but it's rules light instead of rules heavy, right? And being able to make statements like that is really, really helpful in helping you understand what you're trying to make and helping other people understand what you've made, so that when they play test it, they know how to give feedback.
Yeah.
So
And often those statements, one of the things that I want to stress about this is, I think Nat's absolutely right. And one of those statements can be very abstract. So a couple IndieCades ago, there's this wonderful game that Sam at the NYU Game Center made called Wingspan, or not Wingspan.
no, not
Nosedive.
Nosedive. Yeah.
Which was it's like a dogfight game.
Yeah.
But it's played with protractors. So you actually
that was
draw
actually
the
made by
trajectory
a
of the
group
plane.
of people at
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really good. And our friend Al Gonzalez actually said that it made made them feel like playing golf. And so like, it's a piece of paper, you're tracing on it with protractors. And it was like, the understanding of it though was that this is golf, right? I'm trying to figure out the distance. I'm trying to use the right, pick the right iron to make it go that far. And that comparison isn't like, it's not that it's not a tight comparison. It involved a lot of creativity and recognizing the bones of the game, that the underlying mechanics are about distance and shape and use a correct amount of power to use and things like that. And so even if you think your game doesn't have comps, be more creative, understand the deep abstractions that go into what your game is like. One of the things we always ask about games is, we have this question where we say, how does the game feel to play, and what do you do in the game that makes it feel that way? And that's a good question to ask about your game.
Yep.
That was a damn good answer. That was damn good answers from both of you.
Very, very
What was like
enlightening.
talking about?
Well, we definitely want to say a huge thank you to both of you for joining us today and for showing us this incredibly fun game, and for, vibing with us and joining us at our table. And of course, we want to say thank you to you, Trevor, as well, for joining us for, our inaugural game of the season. I think it's about time to sort of wrap things up here. But before we do that, I think we want to give everybody a chance to kind of talk a little bit more about themselves and where we can find you.
Yeah, let's go around the horn.
Let's start with Trevor this time.
Yes, good. Oh, hi, I'm Trevor Adams. You can find me at Howlett, but spelled with an I, HOWIETT on Twitter, and just my name with a period in the middle on Instagram. Not that matters. I run a D&D podcast called Plunders and Blunders. You can go to plundersandblunders.com and listen to years of my life played before your very ears. And that's basically it for me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out.
Patrick?
You can find me on the web at Patrick TK Watson on Twitter, or at patrickTKWatson.com. And the best way to get involved in with Business Wizards is that I often run Business Wizards on startplaying.games. So if you want to play in a game of Business Wizards just like the one you just saw, please go to startplaying.games. I think there's a free Learn to Play coming up next weekend. And the every couple of weeks thereafter, we do free sessions and paid sessions as well.
Awesome. And Nat?
Yep, I'm at Nat Messnard on Twitter and Instagram. I'll give people a couple of web addresses as well for stuff we're working on. Patrick and our game design practice is called Oat and Noodle Studios. So you can go to oatandnoodle.com to follow us. I'm more active on social, so that's my news feed for projects. And following me on Twitter is probably the best way to get up to date details on when we're casting, when Pat's running Let's Plays, all that kind of stuff. For 9th level, you can go to 9thlevel.com with the number 9. And Business Wizards is available there for purchase. You can get the physical copy right on 9th Level's website. And there is a digital PDF as well. So if you want to pick it up, it's there. And all of the other polymorph titles that are out and forthcoming will be filled in right there on the 9th Level website. And then I have a personal website too, which is nataliemessnard.com. And if you're interested in me and my own game design and writing, you can check me out there. I'll do a tiny bit of self-promo and say that if you're specifically interested in learning to write games like this, I teach continuing ed classes at a site called Catapult, and I am teaching a class on world building. So if you want to build your own polymorph game or generally work on a lore book for an RPG or a video game, you can do it in that class with me.
Yo, how cool is that? Not only do we get sage advice on our show, but then if people want to get more, they can dive deeper with you.
Yes.
Play Let's Plays with Patrick.
Yes.
Y'all are a full service entertainment empire.
I know.
Love it.
You have diversified in a spectacular way here. No over specialization happening in this corporation.
First rule of business.
Before we, Aki, oops. Before we do our sign-offs, how about we talk about next week?
Oh, right. So everyone, next week, we are really excited to let you all know that we are going to be playing an absolutely impeccable independent RPG called Bluebeard's Bride. And we have a couple of really awesome guests coming in to play that with us. So you definitely don't want to miss it. And of course, the game is being run by the designer of Bluebeard's Bride themselves. So
it is about going to be as diametrically opposite of this experience as possible. It is a game of feelings, of tragedy, of heartbreak, and terror. It's going to be an absolute blast. I've wanted to play this for years. It is literally one of the most beautiful books I have ever seen. We're going to gush about it more next week. But until then, I am your co-host, Colin Kelly. You can find me on Twitter at CP Kelly. No one knows what the P stands for. It's my middle name. And you can also check out some of my work. Star Trek Year 5 is out in most comic book shops now, which is the thing I'm pretty damn proud of. Check it out.
And I am your other co-host, Aki, and you can find me on Twitter at MixGenieinABottle. That's MXGINIINABOTTLE. My entire streaming schedule can be found on my personal Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ShidariAki, SHIDAREAKI. Catch me tomorrow night over at Saving Throws Show at 7 p.m. PT, where I will be playing the second part of Fall of Magic with my cast and crew over there. And until then, look forward to Bluebeard's Bride next week because it is going to be awesome. So we'll see you here at the same bat time, same bat channel at 3 p.m. PT for some Bluebeard's Bride. Until then.
Ciao.
Ciao, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.